So welcome everyone. Slightly different live today. I'm doing a conversation with a lovely lady called Eden, who I had the privilege of going on her podcast last week. And what I took from this conversation that we had was I need to be doing this more with people like Eden, and you're going to see her today with her energy. So I've asked her to come onto my show and to have a discussion about all different types of topics. And if you just have a look at what she's wearing, we're definitely in the same camp when it comes to what's going on in the world. But what I like is that this world is moving places and we are shifting at quantum leaps right now. And to be able to just have discussions where it keeps people's mind open, it keeps people away from the fearful, the dark stuff that we're being shown. And also it allows people just to maybe turn their focus and attention in on themselves a lot more when you hear other people's stories. And that's what you lot know from watching me now. It's about your story. So we're going to speak to Eden today. And before I introduce you, I'm just going to read your bio out. Eden Koz is a soul realignment specialist, as well as a New Earth pontificator, using energy, psychic psychology, meditation, Reiki mastership, consciousness, mindset counsel, God source, light language, dimensional energy healing, galactic connection, and other modalities. Her methods create unparalleled shifts for her clients via her company Just Be, where she conducts sessions remotely and face to face. In addition, she has hosted her weekly podcast since 2022, Just Be Spiritual Boom. And we're going to get a few spiritual booms today. And is a certified in performing COVID vaccine spiritual healings. Finally, in 2016, she incurred a stage 4 lung cancer diagnosis that brought a new near-death experience and 2 years of major recovery and expansion. Growing up in the deep south of Georgia, she currently lives in Akron, Ohio, and has two daughters in their early 20s, one with special needs. So, thank you for your bio, Eden.
Thank
And
you, Harry.
yeah, again, just thank you for coming on the show because I left our conversation last week and I was buzzing. It was good to be able to just have a chat and yeah, just I've said before we've started recording, there'll be many more of these sort of conversations as well. So look forward to some deeper chats. But before we go into a lot of the things that are going on in the world right now, would you be able to give us a bit of a background of, I guess, your childhood and kind of where it leads you up to doing all the spiritual work now?
Sure. And Harry, let me tell you again. Harry talked about being on my show last week. You are the real deal. I know it within my heart too, because I've had, I hadn't planned on doing the podcast for friggin' 3 years, and had it's weekly, so I have guests on every week, and I always tell my people who listen, be very discerning with who's on the show because there have been a couple that I got done. And I was like, I don't quite know about that, but I could feel your heart, your soul. So I'm so excited about people that tune into you because, yeah, I'll say it right now. Harry, good stuff. Okay, but let me go into that. So yeah, I live in the States, so I know you're in the UK right now, and I'm guessing your viewers are all over the world as well. So I grew up in the deep South, so Statesboro, Georgia, which is 45 minutes from the better known Savannah. And my parents, we moved there when I was 2.5. There, I think my dad's from Atlanta, Georgia. My mom's from Florida, and we didn't go to church. Okay, big deal in the South. Not only does everybody go to church, but they go a couple times a week. So I would go to school and, grade school, everything. And everybody was like, in Southern voices, "Hey, Eden, how was church? How'd it go?" And I couldn't say anything because I didn't go. And I was like, "Okay, can I go to church? Can I do?" So when I was 9 years old, I decided I was going to go to, what's it called? When kids go to a kid class. So my parents basically said, "You are totally welcome to do that, but you're going to have to ride your bike and go yourself." So at 9, I got on my little bicycle, pedaled to this youth class, and didn't go to church there. I knew one person who went there, but we weren't friends. So there's little May showing up. And if it was me and I was leading this class and this little scrawny Southern girl on her bike who didn't go to this church showed up, I would be like, oh my gosh, let's bring you in. Let's talk about this. But they didn't. And it was a couple and it was very cliquey. And I started reading the Bible too. And when I was reading the Bible, I was like, this doesn't make sense. God kills all these people. Women are treated just like, okay, like dirty. And there was some language that was in there that I was like, am I old enough to be reading this? So that in combination with going to this class, that all of it was not what I thought God and faith was supposed to be. I thought it was supposed to be loving, and everything that I saw was the opposite of that. So and then even going to church and watching people and then feeling the judgment from people as well. Like it just didn't sit well with my soul. So I just gave it up going, okay, I've tried my best. I do not fit in this. I do not understand any of this. So I abandoned God, abandoned faith. And it was really hard. And I was an only child too. And we lived on this street where there were no kids. So there was just this loneliness that I felt. So I just gave it up and felt like God wasn't for me, that it just wasn't a fit. So oh, and my dad was going to be a Catholic priest as well. So he knew all about the Bible, all about faith and religion, but he had in a sense turned away from it too. So I had that going on. So when I was in my late 20s, I was in advertising. So I'm not in advertising now. Been doing the spiritual work since, when did I start? My business was official in 2007, but I started in 2006. So I was in advertising at the time, creative in advertising. I loved it. Yet things started being off balance for me. Like I worked too much, didn't have kids yet. So two of my friends basically had gone to see who was going to be my teacher. And they basically said, this woman is just incredible and she teaches meditation. And the way they described her, it wasn't like, oh, meditation, that's great. The way they described her, I was like, in my heart and my gut, I knew I just had to seek her out. And it was an intense, energetic meditation. So I ended up studying with her for 6 years, and it led me down this path. And in doing that, meditation connected me to God in a way that I had tried. I had to be hit over the head. Harry, I don't know if you can understand it, but I was not going to believe. I was not going to. So I literally, like, there were times in meditation where I literally, like, past lives and things happen in my body and energy that I couldn't explain. And just, I suddenly started connecting with people and feeling their thoughts and feel like it just came, and it came to me so quickly. I could not deny it. And then I just got so excited because I'm like, okay, there is more. There is more. And now through the near death experience that I had too, I am so, oh, Harry, this is so fun to talk about. So connected to God and to faith, and knowing that what is going on in the world right now is just amazing. And that's what I love about your show too, is there's so many shows right now that have a negative twist, or, oh my gosh, look at this. This is so amazing and so great, and ascension and human ascension. It is the fact that we are alive right now in this period of time. And I think that's one of the reasons for this near death experience. I chose to come back, but I didn't know the extent of what was going to happen. And we are in it right now. All right. How was that? Should I say anything else?
Yeah, no, that was really good. And
Oh, thank you.
when you said that you cut off God, and that was
Yeah.
almost like, I've tried it, it doesn't work anymore. Did you still have this feeling that there was something else there, or had that been shut off too?
Everything had been shut off. Yeah, I had abandoned it. And then I realized when I started doing that meditation class, how horrible that feeling was and how alone I had become. I'd completely abandoned it. I thought it wasn't for me. I thought I didn't know what other people were seeing. I had longed for being born into it that would just be my natural state. But then I also realized through this that I needed, in terms of free thinking, in terms of where we are right now, I needed that. I needed to see it on my own. I needed to discover it on my own. I needed to do it my way, because it's so important with where we are now in terms of being able to discern and decipher in terms of what's true and what's not. And also, as we talked about before, keeping an open mind and being fluid through all of it too, because there's so much that changes or so much that we thought was true. And then we realize, oh my gosh, there's another curveball in here. So, yeah.
Can you see the people watching Eden's energy though when she first heard about meditation from someone else who had the passion? It was like, I've got to do this. And it's the
Yeah.
energy where you get a pull towards it. But can you also share your experiences being in America, God, church? It seems like it's spoken about a lot more. And what I've noticed is there is quite a lot of negativity when it comes to the way that the message is being put across, like you're a
Yeah.
sinner and
Yes.
you only can be saved with Jesus, and meditation doesn't get mentioned. And it's almost like if meditation was kind of combined and taught properly, the whole experience for people would be so much different. Do you
Mhm.
do you come across that now? Because I've noticed in the awakening, my transition going to look into the Bible and Christ was mainly because people in America would then have that as an argument. I didn't have any kind of background to it or until I started diving in. But it was my meditation that allowed me to connect to the words, and it was my meditation that allowed me to distinguish what people were telling me. But when I was reading it and my interpretation of it just felt so much easier for me to accept rather than the fear and the negativity coming through something that's all about love.
All right, let's see if I go through that. So I feel that right now religion is put to us, for fear. There's so much, like, again, being a sinner, and God's gonna, you're born into this life as a sinner, and if you don't accept Jesus Christ, you're going to go to hell. So what we are in right now in this ascension is looking at heaven and hell and deciding what we want to be a part of, because there is so much polarity right now, and that the beautiful part of the polarity is it's giving us a choice. And I believe this ascension is going to essentially, it's heaven on earth. So this Bible, this book about having to die before you get there, and knowing that death is not real, and knowing that I think it's been planned within all this to lock people in religion. And once you do meditation and you see that you can be your own, like, you're also led to believe that the preacher or the figurehead at the church, that is who you have to go through to get to God. You do not. Okay, God, you are God. God is within you. And I feel that meditation is the key, the bomb in all of this, because if you can quiet the mind and get out of the matrix and get out of all this programming that we've been taught, and get quiet and feel source and when you do this, you can feel so much beyond. Okay, like, for me, it's not only connecting to God, but also, okay, let's get kind of wacky here for a moment, but just fairies and galactics. And I mean, there is so much to this world, so much that meditation allows you to see beyond the veil. I talk to people that have passed on because it's just a veil, and when, can I go into the near death experience for a second, Harry?
Yeah, I was going to say that would be a good lead into it because it's
Okay.
2016, you say.
Yeah. So 2016, I was 47 years old. I'm 50. How old am I now? 56. Now okay, so I live right now in Akron, Ohio, which is kind of a tire industrial city. And at that point, I actually had a studio, which to me at that time was incredible, because here it was a meditation studio. There were lots of yoga studios, but not meditation. So I had the space. I had several people working with me, and it was a beautiful space. I was so happy, and I was selling products and all of that. And then within a week, I started feeling dizzy and plummeted. So to the point where I couldn't get out of bed. I had canceled classes, and I never canceled classes. So, in a sense, I was living what I thought was the dream. So, my husband, then husband, at one point he said, we need to go to a doc in a box and see what's going on. They gave me a migraine tonic and they were like, if you don't feel better the next day, we suggest you go to the emergency room. Next day, went to the emergency room, and very quickly there was a one lesion in my lung and three in my brain. And they said, this pretty much looks like stage 4 lung cancer. Okay, so I was a healthy woman, Harry, ate nutritiously, meditation. This wasn't a, oh my gosh, you need to change your lifestyle kind of a thing. So, given that I had already done such spiritual work for so long, there wasn't fear. It was really neat. There was not fear in me. I was like, okay, at least there's something that explains this pain. I mean, this was like a migraine times a million what was going on. And if we hadn't checked this out, I don't think I would be around for a week, and because it was growing so quickly. So this event, I knew spiritually, okay, you're coming up with this challenge, just go with it, flow with it. So they couldn't. So went into the hospital. So suddenly in your life, I have these two girls. I think they were like 14 and 11 at the time. So instead of going home after the visit to the emergency room, they were like, you need to go straight to the hospital. So I was there for a month and a half, had 2 craniotomies, which was brain surgery. Yet after the first one, so this is when the near-death experience happened. It was the only time I was alone in the hospital. It would be the only time, because weird things happen at night. But I had just had the surgery, the first one, came out of it, was like 2 a.m, kind of groggy, and I opened my eyes. And in the ICU, it can be kind of perilous in there, but it was the only time it was perilous at this point. So people were coming in. There was a guy that had fallen off a ladder, even though it was at night. Maybe he had been there, I don't know. But quadriplegic, like, and there was throwing up, and then there was laughter. So it was like heaven and hell was right there in front of me. My door was wide open. Okay, I couldn't really talk. I couldn't find the button to call a nurse in. So I just was helpless in a sense to watch all of this unfold in front of me. And then suddenly this, and I had already connected to God, but this was different. I felt like this pressure come on me where I had to stay and listen and watch. And then suddenly this voice came to me and like, okay, this is God here. You are getting to see what the earth is like. Heaven and hell, the good and the bad. You have this choice right now. You can leave. Okay, and what was so spectacular with it, Harry, there was no judgment within it at all. You can stay or you can go. Okay, if you stay, this is earth. And you know from your experience, Eden, that if you go, oh, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be so great. And all you have to do is close your eyes and you can just skip out. And I knew from my experience, okay, it would be hard to leave my family, my daughters, but I knew that I would be with them in a different way. So I wasn't concerned or worried about that. And also, who hasn't thought about leaving this life at some point? And here was my out if I wanted to take it. And God goes, let me tell you this one thing though. If you decide to stay, you are going to learn so much. Okay, and when I had my first craniotomy, let me tell you, before we went to the surgery, the doctor said, we don't know how you're going to come out of this. You may not be able to walk again. You may not be able to talk. We don't know. We just kind of see this as the last option. So what do you want to do? And we decided to do it. And I had to sign all these papers, basically releasing them from, if I came out of it and I was paralyzed or whatever. So I didn't know what was in front of me. So God also wasn't going, everything's going to be fine. You're not going to be in a wheelchair. Didn't say anything about that.
And
So
was you just putting your faith in whatever happens, happens?
Yep. And when I heard, like, it felt like I had a long time to contemplate, yet it also felt like seconds. It was just, and I just knew I needed to stay. And when I decided that, I was like, okay, food is life. When it's time to do breakfast, I'm going to eat breakfast. And just trust that if God is saying that I will learn a whole bunch, I will. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know what that's going to be, but am I willing to go forward? Okay. And this was before I knew about the Great Awakening, too. So I said yes. And soon after, a nurse came in. Um, I asked, I somehow got some words out for my then husband to come. He came. Okay. And this, again, I think I'd been in the hospital a week. So there was another emergency surgery. There was 2 years of healing from this. I mean, when I left the hospital, I couldn't really walk. I had to relearn how to talk, how to think. My physical therapy in the beginning was we had stairs in our house. Oh, we're just going to go up one step and then we're coming to come back down. In the shower, I had to sit in a chair. I had IVs. I mean, it was major. Okay. But what I learned from all of this, my company, ironically, is called Just Be, and my mentor laughs about that because it forced me to just be, because there were times I couldn't do anything. I couldn't get out of my chair. Like being a mom, I couldn't cook dinner. I couldn't be with my kids. All I could do was sit in the chair and do nothing. It's like I was forced. And then I had to give up. I said, well, I didn't have to, but I gave up my studio because I realized that there was so much ego attached to it that in doing the work, I was putting so much time into paying the bills and, doing the schedules and the marketing, where I had to bring it all back and do a home studio, which was really simple and easy. It also gave me where I could relate to other people who came into my world and clients who had major stories. I could be like, well, yeah, I totally understand that. Let me tell you what I went through. And a lot of times they go, oh, and I'm like, okay, if I went through that, you can go through this. Okay. And I know you've got a story that you just recently had as well. And it just helps you connect to people, especially when they come in and they're sitting with you and go, oh, everything's good for you. And you've had, well, let me tell you
Yeah, if
what's
I knew
happened.
that.
And these things are like, I needed it to strengthen myself, and how strong I am now, and how strong through this awakening too. Because when you put yourself out there, Harry, I mean, right before the lockdowns, 3 weeks before it, man, I'm just talking 3 weeks before it, I
Just,
asked
just,
for,
just quickly before we
yes,
go on to lockdown, what
yeah,
was the thing after going through all that, and what was the thing that you would have accounted to the cancer coming from? Was it based on the studio? You said the ego. Was there anything that
yes.
you can like pinpoint it to what you assumed it was for? Or
Okay,
no?
well, it wasn't cancer to let me, and when I finished all this up, the doctors were like, this is a miracle. Like no one had like it crossed through the brain blood barrier. I was the only person in the United States. It took 4 diagnoses to figure out what this was. So apparently I breathed in a bacteria. So I had been in Mexico a while back, and we were doing something in a playground and there was lots of dirt. So I'm assuming that's where it came from. But I also realized that it came to me because I wanted it to. So it's not outside of myself. It's not just some random thing that happened. It was just to, okay, let's see if I can explain this, to spiritually grow me on so many levels, for me to detach from what I thought I needed to do, to letting go of certain things with business or whatever and go back to my roots, let's call it that. And then, okay, so multiple things to really just sit and just be, and to enhance my meditation, and to enhance my world here. Because also, in Western medicine, I am not a Western medicine person at all, which was so interesting that I was thrust into that. Because also it was an emergency, and normally I would do my holistic people, but also had this family that didn't believe in that. So being in that world, and then having to take all this medicine too. So experiencing that and the friggin' side effects of all that. I mean, there was one seizure medication that they put me on that makes you lose your appetite. That was incredible, because suddenly I was like, this is horrible. Get me off of this and put me on something else. And then the side effects from all of that, and just experiencing that, knowing that people experience that all the time. So that was good to go through that too. And then just the strength that came from that, and knowing that I could go through that, and knowing there was only 1 week that I really got depressed through it all because I just wasn't feeling good at all. But most of the time I was upbeat.
Not with it.
And my friends and my family were just like, what the heck is this? And I'm like, well, it's everything's going to be okay. Because even if I die or whatever, that'll be okay. It's all okay. I'm good.
And you mentioned as well, like it's something that was for you spiritually, and certain
Yeah.
people watching, why would you pick that spiritually? But what the stuff I've been looking in recently is that the like a soul contract and your soul journey, a lot of it is already planned out for you from your soul, from your spirit beforehand, and you need these different bumps in the road to, or one, to get the story and get a perspective that you wouldn't have had before. But also when you, like you mentioned, when you meet other people, instantly there's a deeper connection there before any words are even being said. And sometimes when you hear someone else speaking, you know where that's going to go into next. It's like we were meant to meet each other because you've just spoken there.
And with God, it was still needing to be hit on the head. So literally having 3 lesions in my brain hit on the head. And I after this, I said, hey, my talking to spirit and everything. I'm like, all right, at this point, no longer have to be hit on the head. Maybe I will at some point. So letting the highest good happen. Yet from this point on, like it can be easier. And because Harry, I'm stubborn. I don't know about you, but this really helped me just keep going. Stop being stubborn. Just let go of control. And that's really challenging too, because we, in a sense, we need to be in control, but letting go of that, again, this paradox that's there, how, again, just like we are in the world right now, how to be in it, but not of it, and to let go of control, but to still, the slavery system that we're in right now, to get up and to, schedule sessions and do like control that. Yet, yeah, it's just this amazing thing that I'm continuously working on, yet much better than I was.
I love that.
Thank you.
So have you worked with many people? Because cancer is now a big topic again. Joe Biden's now been diagnosed with the
Yes.
prostate. And a lot of the awakening I feel is going to be when it comes to big pharmaceutical, and cancer is going to be a topic that links pretty much the whole world together because we all know someone that's gone through it. So anyone that would come to you now who's gone through that, have you changed your perspective or your approach as we've gone through the years and with everything else that you've gone through now, or would you just encourage people to just be to ride it out?
That's a really great question. Um, I guess we'll go to talk about my business a little bit. I also believe that, everything that happens to us is their spiritual implications. So my job is to help you figure that out. So it's mind, body, soul healing. And it can be really tough because it's almost like confronting. Okay, I'll use this language. Confronting me is confronting yourself, looking at all the demons and the shadow side that's within you. And especially right now, I feel that it's so important to clear all this junk out and to really realize you are responsible for yourself on every level. Okay, and it's really hard for people sometimes to accept that. So I've had clients come and go because we get to this point where they're like, okay, I'm done now. And especially my job right now is to not to be forceful, because one of my clients calls me a gentle bulldozer because I am all about the truth. I'm about the truth of you, and if there's something within you that I feel needs to be heard, I'll say it gently, but I do not step aside. I do not that's what I'm here to be, a truth teller on all levels. And as you know, it can be challenging at times. So I had this client, for example, yesterday who really doesn't want to see what's going on in her life. And I said, okay, you may not, I've got some stuff to tell you. Are you ready for that? Or, and I ask sometimes, do you want me to go that far, or what do you want me to do? And she said, I want to know the truth. And I'm like, okay, because a part of me, I can't just sit here and, tell you stuff that just dance around this subject that's like staring me in the face. So yeah, if someone really wants to know why they have cancer, what's going on in their life, about their marriage, about the relationships, I am the person to come to. Yet at this point in my life too, if you're not serious, then I'm not your girl. Woo!
It is quite easy to once you get to that point now, isn't it? It's the truth is the truth. It doesn't change. You can come back and
Right.
it'll still be the truth. But at the same time, that's the message that's going to come from me. I stand on it.
Me too. And it can be challenging, yet it just gets easier and easier because once you see it and be it, you can't not. And once it gets stronger within you, it just like I just can't. I can't shut up. Like you with your podcast. Like I started mine just because I needed a place where I could speak and have, again, interesting the word control, have control over it, and just do it my way and do it. But then it's funny having people on the show, you also relinquish control. But it was one of these things that I just needed for me just to get out there and speak. And it didn't matter if anyone listened. I just had to have the platform for myself. And it's just growing. And especially now, I feel like in the next, especially the next couple months, it's going to keep growing because I feel more people are waking up. What do you think, Harry? What are you seeing?
There's definitely a shit. It's what I feel is more people waking up. But there's a lot of people that were awake that went back to sleep again and got back on with life. So it's like we have to go back and give them a topic that they can feed off of, like COVID as an example, which I feel is coming
Mm.
into our awareness a lot more. And then it will be getting taken on a journey. I see the exposing coming out a lot more in terms of what has gone on. And again, it's the truth. That is what happens now. We've been going side footing around Donald Trump. Is he good or bad? This is these people now. Now it's that stage. So I do feel we're in that shift. And it's only seems to be fear sells in the newspapers. And it only seems to be in this awakening that justice is going to be the thing that sells. Until that comes, until they are exposed, people are not going to be happy. Whereas I like looking at what we are being shown at the moment, and there's a lot of good things being put out there to us.
I agree. And I attest to that, like personally with me, like I expand and grow every day. And the past, like even, okay, let me go into this. So I asked my husband for a divorce 3 weeks before the lockdown. So he used to work and travel, and suddenly and my daughters, we were all at home. And during that time, that's when I started waking up. So my teacher, my mentor at one point, during this process, the divorce process, she basically said, COVID is not what it seems to be. That's all she had to say. And it was so interesting. I started getting stuff from friends, like Out of the Shadows. If you guys have not watched that documentary, that was my first foray. And then Follow the Cabal was the second. And suddenly I was like,
Yeah, that
what is this? And I also knew that that was one of the reasons that I chose to stay here and to be a part of all this. And so interesting too, during the divorce, my husband did not want to be like, I was at January 6th as well. Husband then got vaccinated. One of my daughters got vaccinated. So we were on the polar opposites of this. So this wasn't the cause of the divorce, but that would have been, I mean, it was so amazing that the split happened when the split was happening.
it's like the confirmation, wasn't it? It's,
Yes. Yes. And then I started being very vocal about things. So lost clients, lost friends. I mean, it was this great split. And I feel that needs to happen to so many people too, to really get out of narcissistic relationships, just really being willing to look at everything. And now I'm really on the other side of that. So the past couple months, I can attest that the energy from me, I'm moving much more than I ever have before into peace and bliss. And this also shows me the truth of the Great Awakening that we are moving towards this good feeling, these good vibes. Yeah, it's happening not only in front of our eyes, but energetically. It's just great. And there's going to be more.
yeah, so much. It's the Great Awakening. I feel like it's an imprint within every soul journey. Just be there at the Great Awakening. That's regardless of where you are in life, that's the place that you want to be. Because once it does come out, everything changes in terms of information, first of all, but the way it's then processed, the way people, I feel, are going to have flashbacks coming up all the time. Yeah, we've got so much ahead of us in terms of, I don't know what it looks like, but there has to be for me something that links to the Great Awakening, which is a hashtag that's banned on social media, by the way.
Well, not surprising at all. What was I going to say that? Yeah, it essentially for me, like the Great Awakening is this huge spiritual battle. But it all of it is about moving away from the mind and logic and all these 3D parameters of victimhood, of competition. And the 5D is essentially moving to our hearts and learning to live through that, knowing that when we live there, our intuition and our mind is all connected to that. But this is the primary. There's so many more nerve endings here than even in your brain. And it just like for me, opening here, it's just, I mean, the opening in the front and sides and back, it's more than it's ever been before. So moving in, oh, I have to close my eyes for a minute. Moving into love. I mean, it's just, it's so freeing.
And it's an experience that a lot of people have yet to even get a taste of with the world that they've been living in. So it's
Right.
almost like they're just dipping their toes into it's going to be a big red wave of love that's going to be coming our way.
Well, and it's neat. I had someone on the show recently, which describes it that we really haven't known love. Like we have a concept of it and we've experienced it, but even our experience of it is going to grow so much into terms of what we feel and connect with other people. So I'm feeling some of that right now. And it just knowing that it's going to continue to grow every day and every week, it is so enticing and exciting and beautiful. Oh, here, I'm going to sit with that for just a second. You talk, please.
Yeah, the love in the silence.
Exactly.
Can you give
Exactly.
us a bit more then about, because you are, or you have been doing the spiritual work for a while now, and
Yeah.
there's certain things that on your list as well, which there's so many facets to it. Like you said, in meditation, it opens up to everything. So can you give a bit of your journey and what are you pulled to at the moment? And why would you say people come to you?
Sometimes people don't really know what they're getting into. So it's like I describe it as therapy on drugs, yet I'm not a therapist. I'm in no way a classic Western therapist. And I've been doing this such a long time. So Reiki's coming into my toolbox. I'm a Reiki master, yet I don't use any of this traditionally. And I think just because of all the experiences that other healers have or whatever, you're highly unique. So with me, when I usually talk with someone, and when they talk, I can feel in their body where blocks may be. I hear questions to ask. And we talked about guides. Like I feel like I have so many entities and spirits helping me through this. So there isn't, oh, there's this one here that I don't know where it all comes from. And I feel like anytime a different person comes in, there are different things that come in my way as well. So when I see the client, I see them. I see their soul. I mean, and that's a big deal too. Like when you're sitting with me, I see you. So seeing, hearing, knowing and sometimes questions come up to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, is this a question to really ask them? And even with someone coming in the first time, I mean, we get deep right off the bat because sometimes there are just things that just come, ask this, go in this direction. So it's divinely guided. And then when we go, I have a table and do some body work as well and sound bowls, which are just amazing. So tuning into the frequencies, I do light language as well, which is I feel like a gift from the divine that these sounds and words just come through me. So I know intrinsically, based on what we talked about, where to go on the body. I feel it. So it's like employing psychicness, intuition. Sometimes when they come in and they have someone who's passed on, that's really a trigger. I can connect with that person. So it's just like sometimes parallel lives come into play. So it's whatever is needed in the session. It just comes through. So then when we typically do some body work together, we come back and we talk about what they felt and the shifts. And I feel and ask them to go into a meditative stance there. The combination of talking through it and then feeling it within your body in a on a different level, that changes things so rapidly. And especially now, like I have a client who came in who has some challenges with family. Normally, this would take 2 to 3 years to really get through and to digest, but it's like a couple weeks now. Like things are just speeding up and healing is speeding up. If someone really desires to be free and to feel good and they're willing to do this kind of work, oh my gosh, what can happen? What can happen? Amazing. How is that? Anything else you want me to say?
I was going to say, can you share one moment where it's even caught you by surprise of what God can do, or what God can do through you, even better?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. Oh gosh, how do I? So even okay, two things. When I work with someone on the table now, it is just amazing what I see, what comes through, how my own body feels, and that again is letting go of control and having trust that I'm a big part of it. Yet it can come through me as well. It's also like letting go of control, but also realizing that you're important too. It's like, and I've heard healers say, "Oh, I'm just the conduit. I just get out of the way." No, you need to be involved
Yeah.
also, and just the electricity that comes out of my hand, the light now that comes into my head and down my body. It's just beautiful. So I love to be in sessions too. It's so much fun. But then to see people, like, especially when they get off the table and we talk about things, especially now, how they are transformed within moments. And they leave, my studio's in my home and I do remote sessions as well. So the people that I see face to face, it's fun to watch them leave because they're kind of cattywampus out to their car. So it's just, oh, here, I can't stop smiling, especially now. It's just amazing.
Well, can you give advice to
Yeah.
anyone that is going down the spiritual route? And there is a lot of healers and there's a lot of things of what to look out for. Because for me, it's the passion and it's the energy coming from the other person that something has got people to book anyway. There's something, but there's also a lot of choices now for people to make. So is there
Yeah.
any recommendations of what to look out for?
Yeah. Just go with your heart. If you feel connected to the person that you're drawn to from here, not from your mind. I mean, if your mind is that gets in the way so much. If you're drawn to that, and you maybe only have 2 sessions with that person or one, and then you're guided towards something else. But go towards your heart and feel them. Like I tell people to come to me, trust. Okay, and it's not about trusting me, but trusting yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show up, and I am truth, and I am highest good. But that's not for me to say. That's for you to feel from me. And the more you feel that, the more you can open yourself up. And I think it is pivotal. So my mentor, I've had her for many years. She knows my soul. I feel safe, if that's the word, that she knows me. I can tell her anything. I can be myself with her. And a lot of people that come to me, they can finally be themselves with me and know that it's safe and know that it's okay. And when they do that with me, they can go out in the world and do it because now they've done it and they know how to do it.
And my question for people watching is, who in your life can you actually be you with all the little things that you do hold in, you want to say? Who is there in your life that you actually can be that? Because I feel with the soul work as well, is once you can express yourself and you put those feelings or the uncomfort into words, that on its own is healing. And it just shifts instantly when you see someone get it because they've finally been able to make sense of it. But it's not anyone else telling them. they've managed to get out because there's that one person who's there. I call it like a soul soundboard. They're there just to soak it all up and give that energy back to you, but also emphasize on look at your energy there, or look at the words you just spoke. Look where that come from. And it's
Mhm.
that reassurance sometimes that we just need in life.
And I know you're very much like on the words. Like for me, words are really important, and the vibration of words and body language is huge because someone will say, "Yeah, I totally like that," and they're shaking their head no, and I'm like, "Do you realize that you're doing that?" "Oh no, I didn't realize I was doing that." Um, Harry? Do you mind if I talk about these COVID vaccination
Yeah, of
healings for a
course.
moment?
Yeah, of course.
Because I'm really passionate about that, knowing that in the upcoming weeks and years, there's going to be a lot of healing and a lot of repair from the vaccinations. And so I've been trained or whatever, but I feel like I've been training for this all of my life too. To do these healings, they are just, and I've done probably 10 at this point, and I want to do more because, and Harry, you may show some of the live blood samples as well. It is incredible. So it's using, so I believe one of the things that the vaccinations were employed was to disconnect you from source and from, that part of that you that knows that we're all together. So this healing, okay, okay. It detoxifies the cells from any harmful components for the vaccination, but the key is it connects you back to source, which I believe that's what the point of it was to get you out of all of this. So it employs Christ consciousness to help with that. And then so the live blood samples that Harry may show this one. Okay, so live blood samples, they are banned in many states in the U.S., but not in Florida. So it uses dark field microscopy to show the cells, and a lot of alternative healers use that. Because I feel that it can really show a lot, which is why so many things are banned because they're labeled as not good. So you can see within 10 days after the healing, this one gentleman for sure was showing signs of MS. His blood was all clumped together. And 10 days after, his cells are just round and beautiful and delicious. So the healing just it influences your whole body and your whole makeup, and just eradicates, to me, the number one reason that the vaccines were brought is to basically make you a slave. What else can I say about that, Harry? There's so much more.
I'm guessing because we've still, people that watching could say they're awake, still have a role to play in this for loved ones that are
Yeah.
unconscious, in fear, and attached to that, there's a lot of correlations when it comes to illnesses. And as you said, we're going to be spending, I'm going to say, a period of time where the world has to heal, like individually and collectively. And
Mhm.
it's knowing that there are protocols out there that are working. And I will put up the blood samples. I'll put it on this bit here, but you can see with your own eyes then, which what a lot of people need in that world is
Exactly.
something tangible.
Exactly. And I can do these remote or face to face. It's an hour. And then if you have heart challenges, you're encouraged to do another session after that, waiting at least 10 days. Yet I feel this right now is so necessary, and it's been kind of slow going, but that's totally okay too, because I am ready for whatever is coming. I feel like I'm just preparing in this time, just getting more energy within myself. And the purpose of these healings is not so much to get rid of side effects, because there might be some things that you need to experience through the shot. Yet connecting you back to the divine is the primary. And what comes from that, each individual person, it's different. Yeah. So there you go. What more can I say?
And then can you go before we finish today? Can you
Yeah.
explain the experience you had with the Akashic records? We said it,
Yeah.
it changed a lot because that's something that I have heard about, I haven't looked into, and
Okay.
I know there's a lot of people that have asked questions about that on some of my pages. So just your experience, and you said it changed a lot.
Yeah. All right. So through this great awakening, my thoughts are that our DNA is going to be ramped up. That there's so many spiritual things that are no longer going to be applicable, like karma is going to go away, soul contracts are going to go away, all these genetics that you come into from your family and family lineage is going to go away if you're willing to work on it. And some people it's just going to be automatic now too, which is great. You don't have to quote unquote work anymore. Where was I going with that? Oh, so the Akashic records. I took this galactic Akashic records class about 2 years ago. And it was beautiful because it helped me really learn about the cosmos and how we're all connected to these galaxies that are far away and the Arcturians and the Palladians and how all like I was like I knew there was more to this world, but it just blew my mind. And suddenly I started receiving these downloads and just, oh, there's just so much more. Yet the interesting part, as you know, here I've been doing this spiritual work for so long. I can feel things, I can tap into things, but I couldn't get into the Akashic records. And I was like, what is going on? So the teacher of the class basically said, you might be blocked this or that. And I was like, I can't imagine that I'm blocked. So I was like, okay, well, for some reason I can't access it. And then I had a woman on my show a little while later, and she basically stated the Akashic records are also old, that as we're moving into this great awakening, they're not going to be relevant anymore. And I so appreciate God and Source because they've always redirected me or not let me get into something that's not in the highest good. And I was like, suddenly, wow, that made complete sense to me. So yeah, and then I was like questioning, oh my gosh, so many people do this for a living and do what, how is this gonna, translate out? I don't know. And it's not, I truly believe in them, yet I believe with this ascension that we are rewriting everything. So to like when you talked about Oprah, to me, like Oprah potentially being good, that just sparked something in my heart. There's something about this too that I'm just like, yes, I know this is true. Like I didn't have to do any more research with it. I was just like, it makes complete sense. So just to throw that out for people to consider.
Did you feel a shift from that as well? It's like an instant knowing when you heard it.
Yeah. It was just like yeah. And the fact that I couldn't get into it, which I'm like, why can't I get into this beautiful spiritual thing? And that's what I do. And I was like, oh yeah. And there have been multiple times that I've been redirected from something that I thought was the truth and it always happens where right in the moment, it may not seem to make sense, but a little while later, it's like, oh my gosh. And even just like having the cancer diagnosis, like understanding it even after it happened, but then the great awakening going, oh my God, I had no idea this was one of the reasons I was going to be around too, to experience this and to help lead people into it and not, I don't know about you, Harry, but it's also like I'm not here to awaken people, but I'm here to guide them in their own awakening. And if they don't want to wake up right now, that's okay too.
They will when they got a glimpse of what's going on over there, though.
Yes. And if they want to stay in the hell a little bit longer, go, that's okay. Knowing that we're all going to get there at some point, that the timeline is different and that the time is also a paradox. There's so much polarity right now, and we're not going to have that soon too. It's just going to be, and it doesn't mean that there's not going to be continued growth. It's not like, oh, we get there and everything's beautiful and rosy. There's still growth. It continues. It's just different.
Can you give us a little taste of how you see this? If we say the new world for
Yeah.
the collective, what is it that you see?
I just got chills all throughout. Okay, if you imagine truly living from the heart and all of our systems, all the financial and education systems falling and them being recreated, like, okay, like children, education, meditation, intuition, psychicness, all these powerful abilities that we have within us that have been dumbed down essentially with fluoride and chemtrails and everything that's being put in the food on purpose. Uh, so, and children that are coming into the world today are already so much more expanded. And then politics. I think the way we are going to govern ourselves, if you even want to use that word, is going to be so much more based on trust. And there's going to be so much more backing out and individuals having so much more responsibility for their lives and free energy and all these things that we are to pay for, that we're not going to have to pay for them anymore. I mean, again, also this slave state of, oh, we get up in the morning, we are on this gerbil wheel and we work and we eat and we, go to work and then we retire. Like, I also feel that the human bodies are not supposed to, we don't need the sleep that we need. Eating is going to be completely different because we're also becoming much lighter and in these light bodies. Um, it, it, and the relationship to animals, I also feel that animals right now, what we were seeing in terms of them killing each other and how that looks, that's not going to be anymore. And the sentience of plants and our involved, oh, I'm getting more chills, Harry. Our involvement in nature and the world and how we're all tied into it. Oh, and knowing that right now when you walk outside, that all the plants know can feel your footsteps. And the plants in my house that everything is this table right here is alive, even though it's a friggin' table. It's it's all alive and it's all there for you, and that's a big thing that we have to see too. It's nothing is against us, nothing. It's all just so beautiful, and it's heaven on earth, and our houses, and just I imagine at some point walking out my front door and it's just different. The world is just different.
If the people in my community watch this, they'll be smiling because you said a few things which I echoed the other day. The one with the animals not killing each other.
Yes.
I put that out there as a suggestion, like because they say, "Oh, it's the natural cycle, and
No.
that's the way things are." But if it's
Uh-huh.
all based on love, and you can also see when animals are provided food, they don't need to go on a hunt. And you can see how lions are growing up with tigers and dogs, and they all get on because it's all done through love from a young age. But then it also then starts addressing, well, if they love each other, they don't kill each other. So that part of the cycle obviously will start changing once the collective of the human consciousness shifts as well. So yeah, there was a few things that you said then which have been put out there. So it's happening, people.
Right. And they're all spiritual beings as well. They have souls and they, like, I talk to animals sometimes. Like, that isn't my niche, but yeah, we're all connected. We're all, and once we start seeing that and seeing that, I am Harry, I'm all of you guys listening, you're not separate from me. And also within that, this will be my last thing, that it also doesn't mean that once we move more into this new earth that we're all going to be the same. Like, we still carry these uniquenesses within us and these specialties, and we're going to be able to be much more creative versus, oh, I have to go to work and earn this dollar so I can pay for my food. It's just going to be so much happier and so much more free. And it's exciting to talk about because part of me is like, I can't wait for that yet. Chill. It's happening now. And we have to go through this process to understand now and then later. And yeah, it's so important. And everyone who's on Harry's show, God, I just appreciate you, that you're willing to open up and to see more. It's great.
We
And
can
Harry, thank you so much.
imagine your future guests as well, just with able to talk about all these things. What happened in your life today? And it's like something new comes to you all the time that we didn't even know was a possibility if we was to look
Yeah.
at this point. So yeah, you're very welcome.
Oh, thank you. My heart right now is just, I'm just soaring. It's just so good. Thank you so much for letting me talk through this too. It's just good. That's all I can say. I feel like throwing down the mic if I could throw it down.
Yeah, do your little match up. But as you can see,
Awesome.
people, it's the energy that's why I picked up straight away from Eden when we were speaking last time, and also when she interviewed me, I did the speaking where she listened, and I feel it's just important to be able to pay attention to the energy within the calls and within the people in your lives and notice, because we've talked about the duality and the polarity at the moment. It's so big now. The teachings all can come because you see fear instantly, you see agitation, but the other side, you see passion, you see a knowing come out of someone at insight. So it's to pay attention to that because that's truth. That regardless of anything else, that is the truth.
That is the truth. And just for y'all to know, Harry's show with me will be live on May 28th. It's a good one.
That. But we'll definitely come back for more conversations and even focusing on a certain topic as well, because there's so much that you can cover. And we had an hour today, but we can have a look at different topics because I know people have
Indeed.
interest of even the Akashic records as a discussion. It's nice to just be able to get a few different perspectives on there, and
Yeah.
it leaves people with a whole new avenue to go down. If something resonates with you, then I encourage now. There's lots out there, and there's loads of people speaking their own experiences.
And let me throw it out there. I think the Kasha records have value, especially as we're switching through this time period. Yet for me personally, I will not go there because I guess I don't need it at this point. But yeah, for those just waking up right now and needing some guidance as well, I think it has great value.
Amazing.
All right, you.
Well, thank you so much again, and
Thank you.
and people, I will see you soon. If you do watch this, please do leave your comments below, and we will definitely get another conversation going very
Thank
soon.
you.